Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be doing the Olens ending collection, which comes in 3 different colors: brown, grey and olive. And I know a few of you guys have requested for me to review this. I'm sorry I took so long, and that's because I was waiting for the olive to arrive so that I can do like a full in-depth review for you guys. In terms of the diameter, this is leaning towards the enlarging side of 13.2mm with the graphic diameter, and the overall diameter is actually 14.0mm. Let's talk about the design first because I feel like there's a little bit of similarities, and what I'll do is when I talk about each colors, I will also chuck in like comparisons, contact lens that I found similar in terms of the color and design as well, so you guys can see them side by side. So going back to the pattern, I feel like it really reminds me of the Moodnight collection during my first impressions of putting this on, especially the brown color, because I feel like it really, in terms of the design, there's no design to it. It's just like one tone design, like just one, okay? And the way it designed is that it has 2 tone. You have the border and then the inside of the color. So it reminds me of Moodnight in terms of that, but also reminds me of the real ring where the iris in the middle looks really obvious when you do put this contact lens on, depending on your eye color as well. So for me, I felt like the brown one, my dark brown iris, looked really obvious right in the middle. We're gonna go straight to the color design so that you guys can see a little bit more in terms of the color and the design as well. So let's get started with the brown one. With the brown one, I would say out of the 3 colors, this brown would definitely be the most natural looking for my eyes, just because I have dark brown eyes. So when I put this on, I feel like it really blends into my natural eyes really nicely, and I only see like legit just 2-tone colors. And I feel like with the border of this and the inner part of this contact lens, the darkness, I would say, like, you know, the color, the opacity, it really just looks very even, because sometimes, actually most of the time, when it comes to contact lenses, the border tends to be darker than the inner color contact lens, yeah? But with this one, I feel like this both looks the same. So when it actually put on my eyes, I just feel like this makes my eyes look like it has different layers, if that makes sense, rather than the contact lens having different layers. So when I put this on, I see a combination of beautiful chocolate brown, a little bit of yellow golden color to it, and then on the inside you see my iris color, which is dark brown. So all up, it just feels like 3-tone, but it's actually 2-tone. I hope that makes sense, guys, but it's definitely the most natural looking one, and I think it's actually really beautiful. It's just very natural looking, which I like. Next one is a grey one, and I found this very beautiful. When I put this on, I was like, wow, this is actually really gorgeous because of how beautiful this grey look on my eyes. It's not too dark, it's not too light, it just gives a really nice pop of color on my eyes. And what I really like about this is that it didn't put a grey border on the outside, it put a brown border, which I found really unique, and I find that the combo of this brown and grey together looks really nice. So this one actually have a pattern of brown, grey, brown. So you get the brown border on the outside, on the inside you get the grey, and then right in the middle you get like a little ray of brown popping out, so that everything just looks so nice together. So even though it's 2-tone, I feel like this one has a little bit of like a 3-tone where you get a little bit of that design in the middle. I find that really unique. I just feel like with this one, I'm pretty sure the brown one has that ray in the middle as well, but because everything was brown, it wasn't as obvious in the brown compared to this grey. Last one is this olive one, and this olive one is also really gorgeous. This olive reminds me of like the olive green or like the rear ring olive, but again with this one, it's much more towards like the apple lime green color. So I can definitely see a lot of similarities with some of the contact lens that Olens has released, but I feel like with this particular one, again because of that 1-tone design, it's not similar to other contact lens, if that makes sense. And I feel like with this one, again the same thing, it has the brown border on the outside. When you go on, you get that really beautiful green olive shade, and then the ray actually has a little bit of like a yellow brownish shade, which I think is really unique. So even though they said this is 2-tone, I believe this is not 2-tone, because I really do see a little hint of like golden yellow in this color contact lens as well, which I find really unique. But I definitely have to say, out of all these 3, the one that is probably the least natural looking would definitely be this green color, because I find like this green is definitely much more brighter than the grey. I'm not complaining because I do love my olive shade, so I found this olive shade actually really unique as well. If I have to rate which one I like the most, my number one would be grey, second would be olive, and third would be brown. A little bit of comparisons to sum up the rest of the video. I feel like with this one, in terms of diameter, it's actually really nice. It's 13.2. If I compare this with Moodnight, Moodnight is actually 13.3mm. And if you guys watch my Moodnight video, you guys would know that I did love the design. I do love the design, but it's not something I would go for because of the diameter. It looks a little bit too big on me, hence why I didn't really like it. And I did mention that if it's a little bit smaller, I think it would be much more better. So I'm really happy they released a similar design to this, which is ending. So I feel like comparing this two, I am leaning towards this ending one compared to Moodnight. Then compare this with the Vivi ring. No brainer, can't compare with my Vivi ring. The designs are completely different because the Vivi ring, you see that stripiness, you see that border, you see that three-tone color. Everything about that is just so mesmerizing, so beautiful. And with that Vivi ring, the border is definitely more obvious than the inside, and is what make the contact lens really unique because of the border. I absolutely love the border. I love everything about the ring. And so if I compare this with the ending, you can definitely see the ending just looks much more dull looking compared to the Vivi ring. So there's no similarities towards this two. Next comparison would be real ring. Real ring is actually 12.5mm, which is actually smaller. Now if I compare real ring and this ending, I would say the only similarity is probably the color for grey, but not so much the brown. And the way I see it is that the only similarity I see is more so of the fact that the iris for both of this ending and the real ring is more obvious when you do put this contact lens on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like the comparisons as well. And I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye guys!